stories, legends, magic, all lies. I prefer something a lot more tangible. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad and Sunday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. The dialogue I just reiterated was written by Kevin Smith for Masters of the Universe Revelation. Now let's look at that and translate it. Magic, legends, stories. I prefer something a lot more tangible. What does this mean? By someone who's been masquerading as one of us, one of the fans. I am shocked and appalled by this line of dialogue. Magic, stories, legends, all lies. I prefer something more tangible. This is what Teela said from the pen of Kevin Smith in Masters of the Universe Revelation. There's a revelation in this series, all right, and the revelation is that this is nothing to do with He-Man. It's a lot to do about Teela and her female friend. Let's call her girlfriend, because basically that's what she is, Evil Lynn. In fact, what's ironic about this series is that Evil Lynn is more likable than Teela. Teela is a spoilt little brat. You never told me you were He-Man, Adam. She acts like a spoilt child. She's a very unlikable character, even before it all kicks off in the first episode. You know, when they're going to make her man at arms. Now, okay, the red flags were waving when she was about to be made man of arms. Is it man of arms or man at arms? So the term man at arms, obviously, her father Duncan's got that, but because she's a woman, this extreme left writer, Kevin Smith, decided to do this. But I was thinking, you know what, Mick, let them have their fun. You know, we got it. It's great animation, the music, this looks great. And I will say, Masters of the Universe Revelation is well made, well directed, well written, well acted, and the music's fantastic. It's a great story. Unfortunately, Kevin Smith was dishonest with you and me. He lied. He lied about what this was going to be. This apparently was going to be the continuation of the iconic Superior animated series from the 80s. That's how we all know He-Man from, and the Mattel toys. I'm not going to sit here like a 48-year-old child and say he's ruined my childhood, because he hasn't. I had an okay childhood, thank you very much. And I can go back to the 1988, is it 1988, 1987 Masters of the Universe movie that has so many issues, but in fact is a lot better if you're looking for He-Man representation than Masters of the Universe Revelation. But it was the 80s, 1985 animated series that made me fall in love with this character in this universe. Now, what that show did so wonderfully, it was utterly diverse. You had Evil Lynn, you had Teela, you had two very valid females. In fact, there were episodes that were very Teela focused in the original 85 series. So I fell in love with Teela as a character, as a strong female. She was a strong female, she was a fighter, she was strong, and she was likable. And no one can say any different. Now compare her to Kevin Smith's Teela, a spoilt brat that gets everything handed to her on a silver platter without having to earn it. Where have we seen this before? We've seen it in the sequel trilogy of Star Wars with Rey, who actually was played by a fabulous human being and a talented human being. And, you know, we should never, ever call out the actors. The storytellers are the ones doing a political broadcast for the extreme left. And Masters of the Universe is yet another party political broadcast for the extreme left. These messages are extremism and hate. You see, there's something you've got to understand about modern day entertainment and the people that work in it. They're not very intelligent people. They're not. You may see them on Twitter, you may see them in interviews and they come across as intelligent, but everything they say is on a cue card. It's been practiced. It's like an actor practicing a script. These people are politicians. Let me go back to that piece of dialogue again. Magic, legend, stories, lies. I prefer something a lot more tangible. This piece of dialogue can only be written by someone who hates storytelling, who hates fiction. You see, they're under the misconception that they can do whatever they want. But this is a consumer business. I used to work on a deli counter at the Co-op. I used to hate my fucking customers. Pound of ham, please, mate. Cut the ham. Well, that don't look very nice, does it? Ham off the bone, mate. Oh, that's a bit thick. They're doorsteps, mate. What are you going to do? Eat it or look at it? I hated these customers. I hated them. But then one day I had an epiphany. Fucking hell, Mick. Without those customers, you don't have a job. You can still hate their guts, but pretend to like them. So I added that nuance with my epiphany. So I used to get on better. So with these customers, they used to come in and say, I only want to be served by Mick. We used to talk about their children, their wives, their husbands, their lives. They'd be talking to me on the counter for half an hour. They'd go back to the back of the queue just to talk to me. My deli counter was like a bar. So I came from a place not understanding why the consumer was always complaining and moaning and anything I did was never good enough. But then I understood and I came from their point of view. And we became friends, and there was a pub down the road we used to meet at lunchtime with all my customers because Chatterton Road, which is where I used to work in the car, was a little village, it was a little family. And at first I used to call them the peasants of Chatterton Road. I used to hate them. But then when I started mixing with these people, you know, became friends. I used to go around their houses and everything. I realised that these were just people like me that had different nuances, different opinions, different point of views. They weren't bad people, and neither are we. But here's the bigger epiphany. Neither are the people working in the entertainment industry. They just have politicised entertainment. We are in a situation now where every iconic character that's white and male is being replaced with minority actors and females. And I'm sure soon LGBTQ plus actors as well. And I've always asked this, wouldn't a sane, logical business create new roles to create diversity? Wouldn't it? Representation, inclusion. But they're not interested in that. They're interested in revenge. They want to say to the white man, you've dominated the industry for too long, you haven't been inclusive enough, so you must go and be replaced by the people you didn't include. It's about revenge and hatred and extremism. Make no mistake about that. And Masters of the Universe, Revelation, is about more revenge. Now, does Kevin Smith strike you as the kind of guy who's very right on, woke? Of course not. But we must know that his real surname isn't Smith either. He's probably another one who's got as far as he has on DNA by disguising himself as you and me, just an average fan. How many times have we seen him shill bad movies and TV shows? It's got him where he's wanted to be. He's been paid to shill this stuff. Fat Man on Batman, his podcast, his show on YouTube. I've seen it a few times. He comes across as an ordinary guy, he even swears. But this is a man who started off in the right place, then became corrupted by power and money. And now he will take his 5 pieces of gold, like Judas did, just to betray the very thing he claims to love. Storytelling and fiction. Let me remind you again of what he wrote for Tila to say. Magic, legends, stories, lies. I prefer something a lot more tangible. Well, that's not storytelling. Tangibility isn't storytelling. Now, to make your fiction and your stories seem believable, then yes, there is a tangibility there. But what he's saying in this dialogue that he's getting Tila to say is that stories, magic and fiction and illusions and legends and myths are not a good thing. But we have to ask the question, did Kevin Smith even write this show, Or is he just down as the writer? Was this part of the trick and the trap? To have someone who masquerades as a fan like you and me, but in fact, he's there to take money from the highest bidder. And this is what he did with Masters of the Universe. Now, he's very angry and upset. I think he pretended to cry on a YouTube video, I'm not sure. I saw a picture of him in tears. I don't know if that's from something else. He's in a lot of trouble. Not with the industry are pleased with him, but by the fans, and even bloggers like Grace Randolph have exposed him. So he's in a lot of trouble because he's lost the very thing he had, consumer respect. And once you lose respect from the consumer, you're in trouble. It happened to Rian Johnson, but let me tell you about Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson was never a man of the people. People never believed in Rian Johnson. They liked Looper. They saw some issues with Looper, but Looper was a good film. Everyone knows Rian's a really good storyteller director, and he's doing well for himself. And I will say this, if he was able to do his own Star Wars trilogy instead of gate crashing somebody else's, we would have loved what he gave us, hopefully. But again, the Star Wars sequel trilogy was about extremism. It wasn't about telling a great story and continuing a great saga. I don't think anyone can make great Star Wars apart from Dave Filoni, because he's worked with the man who created it, George Lucas, and he believes in the same ethics. These people do not. These people don't care about you. They don't care about He-Man. He-Man's just another white man to them, and they want to destroy him. They either want to make him a minority, but they can't make him a woman because they got She-Ra. Let's not forget Netflix did the female version first, then went to do this. And it doesn't even have any connection to each other. In this series, now I've only seen, to be fair, an episode and half of the second episode, but I've heard what people have had to say about this. We see He-Man die in the first episode, but then we see him die again. They kill, Kevin Smith kills Prince Adam, aka He-Man, twice. Now people will tell me that in spirit, this is about He-Man. So he's there in spirit. Who wants that? Who wants that? Who asked for this? Who told you this is what the customer wanted? This is a consumer business. You need to make money. Well, obviously these people claim they don't need to make money by what they're doing. We're seeing what they're doing is they're taking traditional male IPs, traditional white male IPs, and they're putting in their own inclusion and representation. But it's extremism. It's not even about representation and inclusion. It's about deleting the white man, including a minority or a woman. There are many projects from where I grew up where there were brilliant women performing roles and brilliant strong characters. Loads. There's a little series called V. We had Juliet Parrish as the leader of the resistance, and we had Jane Badler playing Diana, who was the evil alien who was in charge of these visitors, who were aliens. It was brilliant. That was in 1983. Imagine that. These so-called white men were representing women better than they're represented now. Let's take a closer look at Teela, a spoiled brat who thinks that she should have been included in Prince Adam's secret. But why? Why are you so angry? All right, be initially angry, but she milks it and she milks it and she milks it. And she plays the victim. Who does that remind you of? The people working in Hollywood today. As I say, and this is the thing we must talk about as well, nuance. Now, we don't see much nuance from Hollywood today, but we don't see much nuance from you and me, the fans, when we're talking about this. We target these people, we bully these people, and it's not the way to go. They want you to look like a bunch of village idiots. They want us to look like the village idiots who are swearing at them and attacking them, so they can say, look at these man babies, look at these white men, you see, we're right. But when you talk about these people with nuance, like I'm doing today, they have very few places to go, because they are destroying entertainment for everyone, no matter how they identify. They don't care about representation and inclusion. They're trying to create political debate. They don't want to change anything. They want to create bad feeling. These are not storytellers. These are not people who love telling a story. These are people with hate in their hearts. As I always say, the extreme left hate white men and the extreme right hate everybody else. Extremism never works. Centrism, a balance of love and discourse, is a better way, where you can constructively talk about your political outlook. But these people are extremists. But they're the ones shouting the loudest. These are the people we can hear. And the extreme left have now infiltrated every level of big business. And recently, they've infested entertainment. And we can see it. The BBC have cancelled Holby City because they said the area they were filming it in wasn't inclusive enough. So instead of moving somewhere more inclusive, whatever that fucking means, don't ask me, they cancelled the show. Because they actually have inclusion managers and representation managers. Again, whatever that means. So it's not an entertainment industry anymore. And what happens when the industry that you and me love, you know, we grew up watching great stories, great films, great TV shows, really up to about 2010, we were watching great entertainment. Then something changed. As Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, you know, got big positions within governments in the UK and America, things changed. And the extreme left's voice became louder and louder and louder. And now here we are. There are levels to this. All you and I can do is not go after these people. It's not the way. What you and me need to do if we're not happy is not watch what they're dishing up. People say to me, how can you talk about it when you've only watched an episode and a bit of another episode? You're asking me to support that for 5 episodes so they can count me in their ratings. No, no way. I watched half of it. I saw where it was going. The next episode was pretty much the Tila show. The laughable moment when we see she shaved aspects of her hair off, and we all know what they're trying to say there. This is what they want to do. They just want females to lead all their big projects. They want to delete males, especially white males, and put in females and minorities. It shouldn't be that way. It should be everyone getting their fair stab, right? White men, white women, black women, Native American women, Asian women. But that's not what they want to do. Oh no, they want a war. And they've got one. Now I won't fight with these people. I won't, because I'm not a child. I'm a very intelligent man with a high IQ. So when someone does something I don't like, or if they make something I don't like, I give it a chance, then I won't watch it anymore. I won't support it. And I will not support this. I was fooled like you lot. I mean, it was very interesting, wasn't it, when Kevin Smith said a couple of weeks ago, the revelation part of the title is about Tila. Then we knew. The red flags were being waved very, very hard. We knew what was going to happen. Kevin Smith has finally got his, his Clerks or whatever it is, Clerks 2, or whatever he's getting. It's funny, as he stabs Fandom in the back, he gets to do a sequel he's always wanted to do. That's no accident. Now, that may not be connected to Netflix, but everyone in this industry is DNA connected. You scratch my back, I'll scratch his, and I'll scratch hers. This is the way Hollywood works. So all of a sudden, he's got what he wanted. He was able to create a Masters of the Universe animation that had extremist messages in it. Thank you, Kevin. You've put your name to it. You tricked these bastards into coming in to watch it. That's all we needed you to do. Here's the key to the city. That's how it works. This is how this industry's always worked. The only thing that's changed is their extremist messages. Now, the extremist messages were always there, but they were tiptoed in a better way, with nuance. They don't have any nuance anymore because they don't have the talent. They either do this, or they rip off from other people's ideas. I'm not talking about being inspired by different stories as George Lucas was to create Star Wars, like King Arthur and Flash Gordon. He didn't copy those stories, he didn't rip those stories off. He was inspired by those stories, and he was inspired to create something of his own, which was very, very fresh. This is not what they do today. And they will keep on doing this. They will keep on deleting male characters and replacing them with females and minorities. This is what's going to happen. Sometimes I'm okay with it, and sometimes I'm not. Now, the Val Zod Superman they're developing is not ripping off on anything. It is not gender bending. He was always a black man. It's an interesting character or a version of Superman from the multiverse. I love Clark Kent, but I think we all can say this, that Val Zod has got a more interesting backstory than Clark Kent. And that doesn't mean that Superman Clark Kent isn't my favourite version of the character. Of course he is. I'm just making a point. So when you do things genuinely and you're straight with the audience, Michael B. Jordan is being straight with the audience. He's already told us he doesn't want to race bend. He wants to actually, did I say gender bend before? No, I meant race bend. So excuse me. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But yeah, he's actually said he doesn't agree with race bending Superman or any other character. And so he wants to do Val Zod because he's already black and he's a black man and he wants to represent black people, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because he's being direct with us. But Kevin Smith wasn't direct with us. He said this was a direct sequel, basically, to the original 85 animation. I don't think that it is. It doesn't even feel it. But that's okay. That's a white lie. But he said he was a fan of He-Man as a kid, and he wanted to do great He-Man. But this is nothing to do with He-Man. You lied. All you had to do, Kevin, is call this Masters of the Universe Teela's Revelation. That's it. Teela's Revelation. Masters of the Universe Teela's Revelation. We would have either taken it or left it. It's fine. No problem. He-Man's there. You never promised us He-Man would be there because of the title. But you didn't do that because you didn't have faith in this female character that she could pull in the people. I think people would have watched this and would have been interested in this. Bloody hell, Masters of the Universe, Teela's Revelation. Wow, this must be about her finding out that she's the sorceress's daughter and that He-Man's Prince Adam, and she goes on an adventure. Yeah, we're going to complain a bit. Oh yeah, another female-led project. But you're being honest about it. We know what it is. It is what it says on the door. It is what it says on the cereal box. Masters of the Universe Revelation doesn't say what it is on the cereal box. It's a lie. It's a misrepresentation. And it's not just fans calling Kevin Smith out. As I say, it's people like Grace Randolph. Now, not a lot of creatives like Grace Randolph, but she's being honest. Now, Grace Randolph is like Marmite. Sometimes I like her, sometimes I hate her. Depends what mood I'm in. But here she's spot on. And there's more people coming to the table saying what I'm saying. Masters of the Universe, Teela's Revelation. That's what it is. Why not call it that? Why not be honest with your audience? Because people are mostly upset of the miscommunication and misrepresentation. But instead of apologising for lying and misrepresenting the situation, he's going after creators and targeting people, and of course Netflix and the powerful people that Smith's in league with are targeting the fans. The discussions of toxic fandoms again. That's the only key they can play on the piano. I saw Variety do it yesterday. Who was it? Adam Benz, or I forgot his name. But I commented on that and I was very honest about it. He-Man was frozen out of this story. This is Teela's story. So just call it Teela's story, but you didn't. You lied. You lied to the audience. And what you deserve from that is to not have your project viewed and liked. Now, if people are happy with what they've seen, I think it's a great piece of work. But it's a miscommunication, it's a misrepresentation of what we were told we were going to get. And there lies the problem. But there's a deeper problem. And the deeper problem is the way he's written Teela doesn't work. I've already said Evil Lynn is more relatable and likable than Teela. When Evil Lynn was in the original series, you loved her for being bad. You didn't like her better as a person, and that's the problem. Teela isn't a very nice person in this story. I think even if you're a woman, you probably prefer Evil Lynn, and I think it'll be interesting. Smash a like on the video if you prefer Evil Lynn to Teela. As I say, I don't know how much, honestly, Kevin Smith wrote of this project. Now, I know quite a bit about this industry. I spent 6 months in Hollywood. I'm still seeing a shrink after that time in Hollywood, by the way. They're nuts. And I'm developing the first English-speaking dramas here on Cypriot TV. And I'm very excited. Or should I say, I'm pitching. Developing and pitching. Nothing's set in stone yet, but I'm very excited about the projects I'm doing. A couple of those, Finding Claire, Trapped, and if you're ever interested in that, maybe we'll do a video about my projects. But here it is. I want to see a world where we see great characters, great stories, great action involving minorities, women, men of all races, and stop trying to delete the white alpha male. Very soon you will discover a bigger level of turd with No Time to Die. The new James Bond film released in October. Fingers crossed it's released then. A film that I've already seen, and you will see what they've done to him. This is going to continue. And as I said on the top of the video, all we can really actually do is stop watching, stop consuming, stop purchasing. You know what you could do today? I know you won't do it, but you know what you should do today? Unsubscribe from Netflix. If you feel as strongly as I know a lot of people do about Masters of the Universe Revelation, make the hugest statement you can. Not by going after Kevin Smith or bullying Kevin Smith or being toxic to Kevin Smith. Unsubscribe from Netflix. And if they ask you before you leave why, tell them. Tell them the truth. Send them a nice little email as you leave. Show them that you will not tolerate toxicity and hatred towards a group of people. That this is the only way these people will understand when it hits their wallets. Because until we hit their wallets high enough, it really doesn't matter. It's what I said about the Gillette ad. That ad was so horrible and so toxic and so vindictive. No one should have bought a Gillette product ever again. But we did, because we're dumb. These people have to be hit in the wallet, or they'll never understand. They think they can't be hit in the wallet. But very, very soon, they will incite a kind of financial war between the consumer and themselves, where we can show them who's really in charge.